Okay. Whoops. Okay. Our last transformation is going to be a rotation. Now this one is a little hard to show on this video, but I'll do my darndest. So rotation, that's when a figure, as it says here, figure is rotated around a center of rotation. So reflections have a reflection line, rotations have a center of rotation. And the figure will turn either clockwise or counterclockwise. Now I might come back to this one, but let's just look at this right here. Okay, so I'm going to draw a perfect circle. Yeah, that's pretty good, actually. Okay, now let's go through the degrees in a circle. Now, let's go. Let's start with a full circle. How many degrees in a full circle? If you spun around in a complete circle, how many degrees is that? What do we call that? You betcha, 360 degrees. Now, let's say you're not quite as stealthy, and you went from right here to right there. How many degrees of that circle is that? Take a look at the type of angle we're dealing with. That's right. That's a 90-degree angle. I'm going to switch colors here. Now let's say you did from this point, and you went right over to there. Okay? So how many degrees is that? Now, that is what we call a 180, half a circle, right? Maybe you've done that on your skateboard, on jumping. Oops, that's 180 degrees. That's 290s. Okay. Okay, now we're going to go even further. We're going to go from this point. I'm going to use a different color again. Use black. Let's go from this point, and we're going to go right to there. That's that whole distance. That's 3/4 of a circle. That is none other than how many degrees? Add another, 90 to 180. 270 degrees. That is correctamundo. Okay, so typically, at least in this section, that's all you're dealing with. 90, 180, 270, or 360. So now we're going to take a look at actually doing the rotation here. And before we get going with that, I want to go over a couple things, a couple of terms. Clockwise, right there, which is the way the clock goes, or counterclockwise, which is the opposite of the way the clock moves. Okay, nothing too earth-shattering there, but I just want to point that out. Because when we're doing rotations, they will always tell you which direction you're going to turn the figure and how many degrees. And that's what we're going to go over a little bit. Okay. So actually, before we do that, I want to go to a previous diagram. This one, kind of crazy, hey? I drew this before, obviously. So when we go, follow this red line, this one right here. This one goes all the way around in a complete circle. That is, yes, you guessed it, 360 degrees. Now, instead of going the whole distance, if we go from this point right here, and we go right up to right there, if you kind of look at what angle that makes, I'm sure you've learned that before. It's a right angle. That's 90 degrees. Okay. We can also move this figure from, again, this spot. Maybe I'll use blue. From this spot, and go, instead of 90, we keep going, and we go a half a circle. And a half a circle, as you see here, is 180 degrees. 180 degrees. Okay, and then last one that we're going to do is, yes, you guessed it, 270. We'll trace this black one. So we got 90. Another 90 makes 180. And you add 90 to 180, and you get your 270 degrees. These are the distances that they will have you moving your figures, either 90, 180, 270, or I'm not sure that they'll ask you 360, but they might. All right, so let's go back to, which one here? Right here. So what we're going to do here is we've got a figure, and it shows the center of rotation being labeled by P. So there's our center of rotation. That is the point around which we're going to rotate this figure RENT. Now, that's pretty tricky to do. I'm not really very good at this kind of stuff. I always need extra visuals and a bunch of help, and I'm going to show you how you can use a little bit of assistance as well to help with this. Not everyone will need it. This is what I always do. I always take my center of rotation and I draw a line from the center of rotation to one of my points. Just a nice straight line. See, that straight line, I can keep track of moving that 90 degrees, 180, or 270. See, I can move this from there to there, I know is 90, and then to there is 180, and then to there is 270, and then of course 360. So it's easy for me to work with this, just the straight line here, instead of trying to move this whole figure in my head, 180 degrees, 270, or whatever. Now in this question, it's asking to move our figure 180 degrees counterclockwise. Okay, which way is counterclockwise? That's right, it's the opposite way that the clock goes. So I'm going to use blue here. So we're going to take this line and we're going to trace it 180 degrees. So there's 90, and there is 180. And we went the opposite way the clock goes. So you still might be asking yourself, yeah, okay, but I really don't know where that figure is going to end up. And I agree with you. That's very difficult. So this is the strategy we're going to use. Let me point out a few things here. So what this person has done is they've taken some tracing paper, and they have put it over top of this whole, all this stuff here, all the points, center of rotation, and then that line, that extra line that we drew in there, and they traced it. See how they've got RENT there and the line and everything? Okay, so they traced it. And then what they do is they put their pencil right on the center of rotation. Put it right on the center of rotation, and then they rotate the paper. So they take this, they rotate the paper 90 degrees, and then 180. And what happens is that now this person knows where all of these new points are going to end up on the Cartesian plane. And then they can insert them there, label them up, and they're good to go. Okay? So this process right here, this is actually a really good slide to pay attention to. This is going to show you how to use tracing paper in order to move your figure to your new position. Now remember, this new position over here, our coordinates, or sorry, our points are not going to be RENT, are they? What are they going to be? R prime, E prime, N prime, and T prime, just like they've written it over here, right? They're new points, so we got to label them as something different. Okay, now just to wrap it up, this is where that figure will end up on the Cartesian plane. So this is 180 degrees. So there's our 90 again, and there's our 180, and those are the new points after this rotation has been done. Piece of cake.